Welcome, everybody, to the Beacon of Light podcast this evening. Tonight, we have Miss Susan Powers. So, we're really excited to have her, and you can see behind her that this might be kind of fun happening here. But before we talk to her, let's jump into this.
I'm April Tribe Juke. Welcome to the Beacon of Light podcast. I believe we are all made with light, and light is hope. This podcast brings authors who write stories of hope to all of you. Your journey to be inspired and amplified by these stories starts now.
And we're back. Looks like we've got some viewers here live. So if you are here live, go ahead and drop down your information, and we'd love to bring you in and get those comments going and started. So tonight we have Miss Susan Powers, and this is one of these, kind of new opportunities for Miss Susan, and I'm super thrilled to have her be a part of the show because it really matches and fits in from what you guys had polled lately, that you wanted to have a little bit more of the fiction and things like that. So I'm like, whoa, our next guest, it just comes right on in. So this is exciting. Again, you can see behind her, she's got some little friends. So who is that friend kind of sitting over your shoulder?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you, April, for having me. I am so pleased to be here. That is Gilbert. He is the main character of my book, Special Shoes for My Little Feet. I don't know if you can see him. And he's a cute little character, and I actually stole his personality from my young grandson. So he's a lot like my grandson, Ashby.
Oh, awesome. That is great. What a model to go right after. That's great. Red hair and all?
No, but the personality of just curiosity. The red hair I actually stole from my husband. And the book cover was my husband's idea. He actually posed for that picture because we had no idea how to put Gilbert on the book. And so he just held up some shoes and put his foot out and did that. I took a picture and sent it to my illustrator, and we love it. It's absolutely beautiful.
Isn't that fun? How sometimes an idea like that captures the motion, which captures the personality, and then the reader has a pretty fun idea, because especially with almost any book, that cover is super important. And with a picture book, whoo, you gotta nail it right there. So tell us a little bit about Gilbert.
In the book, so Gilbert is he's curious. His dad is prompting questions in the book for him. He actually tells Gilbert in the book that they don't wear just normal shoes, they wear special shoes. And then that's how the intrigue goes. He's like, well, why do you wear special shoes? And he says, because of how important you are. So from that point on, he looks for, well, what makes me so important? So he goes on a journey in the book, and he finds his importance by wearing 4 pairs of special shoes: his mom, his dad's, grandma, and grandpa's, his family.
Yeah. Awesome. Amazing. Really fun. And this idea all came about, I think, from a personal experience. Is that right?
It did. My granddaughter, when she was a small child, she came out into my kitchen. She loved to play in my closet, and she came out in the kitchen with my oversized high heels on, and she was stomping around the kitchen. And, as cute as a button, just so cute, and I loved it and everything, but it prompted something inside of me, a feeling of, it just popped up for me. Because she said, I want to be like my grandma, I want to be just like my grandma. And it prompted a question in me, do I want my granddaughter to be like me? And I know most people don't think of things like that, but it just popped up for me like that. And I began to look at my past with my kids, and did I want the question came up, did I want, my legacy for her to be like me at that moment in time? And the answer was no. I wasn't happy with who I was, and I didn't want her to follow that example.
Isn't that interesting how just an innocent little phrase
Right.
starts you on a completely interesting journey? And so tell us a little bit about this journey of yours.
So I have, let me think about this for a minute. I started on the journey of looking at my past. And when I realized that I had some unhealed things from my past, and then I started, what was the story basically that was bringing this up for me? It's funny how God works, right? He's like wants to get you to start working things that you don't even know you're going to work. And by writing this story, I started even looking in my past with her and my kids and realizing that the broken pieces of my heart, or I guess my what I have learned from my family, my parents, went with me. They came with me, and I actually brought that into my own home with my kids. And not only that, I brought my own story about what those things were that I learned from my parents. So now I've got a mess, and I'm teaching my kids through the lens of these broken pieces. And so I actually put this together. I never expected it to come like this. This book has taught me more about me and about my relationships with my kids and my grandkids. It started with healing from when my granddaughter walked out into the kitchen with her shoes, but the journey continued. And then when I began to write this book, because I never forgot about her, you know, stomping around the kitchen with my shoes, and I had an idea back then to write a picture book, and it's just come, tenfold around how we can heal those. I'm more interested in healing the wounds now instead of going back to the past and dwelling in the past. I'm more interested in healing those pieces now, in the present, because those pieces actually have the potential to be possibilities. If we turn those broken pieces into, healing uh, and let them go, they actually turn into new possibilities. Anything is possible in our lives that we can create. But if we don't, we end up just being stuck, or we can't move, or we have some kind of story that says that we're not allowed to do anything great in our lives. So, and I'll just take one of those pieces that I'm talking about. It doesn't necessarily have to be something tragic like being molested or drugs or alcohol. And I'm not taking anything away from that, because that definitely is real. But it could be something as simple as mommy took my teddy bear away from me when I was 5 years old. And then the child starts growing up, and the story starts to turn and grow. And by the time they're 25, they're like, every woman I'm with takes away, steals from me. And they have a story of, I can't be with any woman because every time I'm with a woman, she steals from me. So it can actually, or I'm not deserving of having anything. So something as small as that, and I'm just going to use that as an example, that they can, that can turn into something really bad, and it can freeze you up. So healing that, taking one piece at a time, can actually, if you heal it, it's a potential for new possibilities in that area of your life. Like they can actually have a healthy relationship with their mother or have a healthy relationship with a woman in their life and go, oh, I know my mom took the teddy bear from me when I was 5 years old, but we add all these stories and it turns into something huge if it's not worked. And so that's my interest in moving forward in this book. It's really sweet and simple, but it's actually taken me to the next level of sharing with others that the younger that you are, we all have something in our past, something from our childhood that we, rather not talk about. And the younger we are, that when we work these things and challenge ourselves to work these things, the better off we are to have a healthy relationship. And we are not going into our marriages and going and having children with baggage, a lot of baggage, and then sharing that legacy with your children. So that's my main goal now. And when I wrote this book, this was not present. None of this was present. So it's actually grown me with, writing this book. And I actually this is my first published picture book, but I have other picture books I have written. And I just felt the need that I really needed to get this book out. It just came to me one day, and I was bound and determined to get this book out. And now I know why. It's in my heart to help others to, whatever that looks like, to heal. And there's many avenues to heal, for themselves.
Right. Very, very true. It is interesting, the stories that we tell ourselves based on that negativity that might rise up into our mind. And I call that the shame shadow.
There you go.
And it's just that idea where it brings up these questions, or I don't know if they love you, or I don't know if you're good enough, and so on and so forth. And what's interesting, I've just finished another book, and in this book, it was the same idea of if we if we experience something negative, or, like you said, doesn't have to be anything big and traumatic, but it can become traumatic based on the story that we tell,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
And that part of the book was really focused in on academics at the moment, like with math especially. And just little things that people might say, like, oh, you're maybe not so great at this part of math.
Right.
And decide, well, then what's the story? I'm dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
I can't do, and then you make this long list, right? And so it's something really similar, like you said, with the bear, right? Mom took my bear, so therefore people then take from me, and I can't trust.
Right.
There are these big leaps that we do because we lack maybe the full story, and like you said, maybe we weren't brave enough or able to ask more about that story. It
Right.
is an interesting thing how kids work like that.
Right.
So as your granddaughter wants to be grandma, and in her eyes, yes, but for yourself, you're like, well, hang on a second. I have to clean up a few things real quick, and then maybe a little later, And it's true. We have this idea that I think has been more accepted is the journey and process of life allows us to experience the negative things, the positive things, and not hide it.
Right.
Just to be more open to work through. I don't necessarily mean that you have to, uh, you know, shout it out to everyone, but it's that idea of there's more around to give support or awareness of this support than maybe different generations. So that's a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So in your book, you said there's 4 different shoes. What are the different shoes?
Okay. So the book is very light and sweet, and I flipped it over and made it very positive. In the first shoes, Gilbert tries on his mom's shoes, and each experience, there's 4 little scenarios that happen, and each experience he learns something from it. He's on his journey to find out what makes him so important. And so he tries on his mom's shoes, and the shoes are magical, and they send him through a portal into the past. Now, uh, his past is not so big, so, so long. So it's real short with his mom. It's like maybe a year ago, whatever. But he actually experiences a moment where his mom, he's looking at her day book, and she crosses out everything that she has to do, work and laundry and clothes, dishes and all the things that she has to do that day. And uh, when he was doing it in the moment and looking at that, he realized that she crossed out everything on her schedule just to be with him. So it was spending time with him and creating a special moment where they build a fort, build a castle, and they're making, dragon cookies, and they're playing, princess and knight, and they have the sword, and they have their little dog Pickles in there, and playing. And so that is a really great memory for him. And the most important part, he realizes that she put her, all her busy day aside so she could be with him. And then with grandma, I'm sorry, grandpa, he portals back into, he wears his shoes, and he's wearing his racing shoes, grandpa's racing shoes, and he portals back into grandpa's workshop, and grandpa teaches him the value of work, and they're working on this car, and Gilbert gets to claim that, I helped with this. I made this car. And grandpa says hard work equals big reward. So it's teaching value of hard work and going out and playing, and they go to the racetrack and race the car. And then the grandma scenario, he's gone way back into the past, and he notices that he wears her, I'm sorry, let me back up. He wears her painting shoes. So if you notice so far, each one of the adults has a great ability. Mom has got acting, grandpa's got the skill of working on cars, and grandma likes to paint. And so he wears her painting shoes and goes back into the past where he notices all the paintings on the walls, but he's not a part of it. And he's concerned, like, where am I? How come I'm not in these paintings, And then he realizes a painting's missing from the wall. And grandma's actually has it's like an announcement that she's going to have a grandson. And her grandson is Gilbert. And so she imagines what he would look like. I'm getting chills. Imagines what he looks like standing beside her, and so that's a really, really cute. So he knows that he's loved, and he knows that, no matter what, she'll be there. And then the twist with Dad, there was a twist with Dad. He doesn't go into the past of his dad. He ends up wearing his dad's boots, his work boots, and he ends up going into not his dad's past, but his grandfather's past. And this is the legacy part of the book. He sees that his grandfather is teaching him how to fish, how to go camping, working on the house, painting the house, and then at night saying bedtime prayers. And he all of a sudden realizes that what his grandfather is teaching his dad has been teaching him And then he realizes that the shoes are teaching him good things. So it all comes together. And then the end of the book, he realizes that it's his family that make him important. And it all comes together really nicely. And there's a portion in the book that he starts to look outside of himself in the beginning of the book to see what his importance is. And then it brings him back to what really matters, what really, bless you, what really matters, uh, what really makes him important, and it's family. And that's where the legacy starts. That's where we all start. And that's really powerful in the book, and that's what I wanted to relate to the reader. With children, I wanted them all to know that they are important too, just like Gilbert. And parents that are reading the book, I mean, can absolutely confirm that. Yes, you are important. They can have conversations. Look what we do. We do this and this and this, and and we do love you. That's why we do these things. So, yeah.
True. Incredibly well put together. And so, y'all out there heard what this book can do. Seems like this is something to get now, have these conversations with. We're right in the middle of spring. Easter is coming. And what a great story to, with spring, right? Begin to like uncover the memories and find importance in this new season. So
Absolutely.
that might be something really, really fun to do. So I highly encourage that. So Susan, you just returned from a type of a book experience. Share with us a little bit about that.
Um, it was really, really nice. There was some families that had expressed that they were looking to for a family value book. That it seems like family and family values seem to be going astray, I guess. And they were expressing their concern about it, and they wanted more of it, and they were really, really happy just to see it, and some not necessarily buying it, but wanted to buy it later online. Um, you know, Others were buying it right away, and two families actually, and then there was a grandma and a great grandma there, and I just loved it because it was perfect. There is a grandmother and a grandfather in the book. And I noticed that there is more in this generation than my generation of grandparents really being in the grandchildren's lives. When I was young, we would go out to LA once a year and maybe or Idaho, and go see my grandparents. And I didn't really know them. And it's different now. I mean, I'm sure that it's still going on, but more and more grandparents are in their grandchildren's on a daily basis in their grandchildren's lives. So, and this grandmother and great grandmother expressed that well, this one woman, she was almost a great great grandma. So she just loved the book. She had little great grandchildren, and she wanted to give the book to them. But she was definitely in for the family legacy, teaching the kids, good behaviors, good patterns. So it was a really nice experience with them.
Amazing. Really, really great. I love what Pam says here. She says Gilbert with 4 different shoes with family members. I love the story. And she, thinking about giving it to first time mom, expecting a boy in
Oh,
May.
nice!
So wow, super excited there, Pam. Looks like
Congratulations!
opportunity. And that's just it. Sometimes, I mean, how many of you guys remember those picture books when you were growing up and the impact that it was?
Yes.
It's just a few words and a picture on a page. Why does it stir something? The emotion, the memory, the good time with grandparents, family, parents, aunt, uncle, anything like that. There's just something that is connecting, especially when we read together. So, congratulations, Pam. I think that is awesome. So, hopefully, you can grab this book and let's say the name of the book.
You want me to?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't hear you. Special Shoes for My Little Feet.
Excellent. And so you can grab that at Amazon, right? And you have, I'm not running down there on the ticker, the special shoes for my little feet at sdpowers48@gmail.com or at her website,
Books.
www.sdpowersbook.com. Make sure that S is at the end there. So, really important opportunity to share with family, to have just a time together with positivity. Let's just do that. That's something that we can all look forward to because you're right. Family is really under attack right now.
Right.
And it's been a slow coming rage and now the tsunami is just crashing. And so
Right.
we can fortify our family in any way possible. And I love the story about the grandpa teaching dad and teaching about prayer.
Right.
I find it so interesting that in a current generation, how few know how to actually pray.
Right.
I think that's something where conversations can really open up about that. Like, well, how do I pray, Mom? Oh, maybe we should try that, right? Or grandma, what does that mean? Prayer, right? And so those things can really be something really powerful and connecting. And so I hope you guys grab this book and just enjoy the possibilities. So, Susan, I just have one more question for you.
Sure.
With Gilbert, your little puppet back there, was he out and talking with anyone who came to the book to the book?
Absolutely. Parents were lining up to take pictures with Gilbert with their little ones. He steals the show. There's no way that I could be sitting behind, a table with Gilbert going, "Hey, I need to be with the kids." So he was out there and I was out front just having a blast with him and the parents, and the kids were hugging Gilbert and loving on him. And, of course, then they were like, what's the book about, right? They want, because they see Gilbert and then they want to just see, what was going on in the book. And so it was just a conversation. Gilbert is a conversation starter. He steals the show, and I'm really really glad to have him. I'm actually in the works of having. There's a little black and white dog in the book called named Pickles, and I'm having him made right now. So that's going to be really fun too.
Awesome. Great opportunity because when those animals come out live, it really connects something and there's just something really special about that. You just drop all pretenses and can share your soul with little Gilbert. Awesome. That's so great. So great. Well, this has been a joy, Miss Susan Powers. Thank you so much for being a part of it. And Pam, get out there and grab that book. You got a grandkid coming in May. This is really
Oh, that is so nice. Congratulations, Pam.
Yes. So everyone get there, go to Amazon.com, or you can see running down there on the ticker, grab that book and really give that support because our family values today. This is going to be something that can help carry things forward. And the healing story that can be a part of yours, have those conversations, open things up, and see what light can be amplified by all of you. Thank you again, Pam. She says, thank you kindly.
Oh, thank you.
Order a book or two. Wow, fantastic. Thank you, Pam. She is an amazing woman. Well, with that, we'll see you all later on the Beacon of Light podcast. Go out there and amplify your light to anyone that you can. And every day, shine forever. We'll see you all